Good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you're tuned in from. Welcome to the BitLab Academy daily live stream. My name is Kellam. Welcome to the show. We got some great topics to go over today. I should stop saying that because every day we've got so many good topics to go over because there's so much going on in this incredible world of crypto, blockchain, Bitcoin, Web3. There's just, the innovation is just going faster and faster. And the government can't even keep up with it. They're scared. They're running for quarters, and they're putting out all this FUD that just really means nothing. And so, what can we do? How can we really tackle this market? Throw a one in chat if all the audio and visual is looking good, if it's sounding good. We got a great guest coming on today. We got our Friday guest, Mr. Bill Noble. I'm excited to have him hop on here in a few minutes. Now, before we dive into that, I do want to say, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell. We got a lot to cover today, and just by you all being here, it's a great help. I appreciate you being in the community. When you engage with this chat, when you get involved in the chat window here, hit that like button, hitting that subscribe button, and dinging that bell. That lets YouTube know that you're interested in crypto content, and it helps push the entire space forward. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right onto my screen here. Come over, make sure you're following me here at Kellam. Make sure you're following the correct one. That's the only reason why I do this, because there's a lot of fake people out there once you start doing streams on YouTube. So here at Kellam, Kelly, Kellam. Now we're going to do 2 giveaways today. That's right, I said 2 giveaways today. We're going to do $100 giveaway, and we're also going to be doing a 3-month giveaway to the courses, because we got a lot of stuff going on with that. So make sure that you come over to BitLab Academy page, which is at Academy BitLab. You can see right here, we're pushing up right about 2,240 followers. Come and like this page, follow BitLab Academy. That's one of the provisions that you have to do. And then come right here and retweet today's tweet, and you're going to be entered to win. We got basically a random name picker that we will be doing at the end of the show from people that have both liked and retweeted today's tweet. And then we'll do another random day picker. It could be Friday also, but we're going to pick Monday through Friday since we didn't have a Saturday video, and we'll randomly pull from that. Now, before we continue on with that, let me come over here to my window. Now, I want to say I'm so excited that we will absolutely be launching the new BitLab Academy in a matter of days. We are literally pulling the final strings on it all. So I just want to give you a little brief preview. Coming over here, this is a BitLab Academy Twitter page, but this is the inside where a lot of the new courses are at, and we're going to be continually filming new content, new lessons, forming new quizzes, new study materials, new resources. And this is some of the stuff that's going to be in the new BitLab Academy right when we launch. Everything from blockchain 101, Bitcoin 101, self-custody, trading fundamentals, psychology of trading, on-chain analysis, candles, candle patterns, indicators. And this is a large variety of indicators. This is not just a BitLab trading stack. This is breaking down everything from RSI and stochastics to Bollinger Bands to volume. There's so much in here, all the stuff that you need to really understand how to really engage with the data presented on charts. And of course, understanding how to read price action through the basics of candles, then also patterns and how you can overlay and understand what likely will be coming next in price action and where the market psychology is suggesting price may go. And then of course, trading strategies. Now we also have a crypto wiki that we're building out here. And so I just want to say, come over to bitlabacademy.com. This is still currently the old site. We are doing the final touches on the website and the integration of all that content so we can roll it out. So come over here, put your email in here, get entered, basically join the email list, but you'll also be entered to win a free month of the access to the courses and the indicators. We also send out basically weekly alpha, what's going on in the markets, as well as some updates of what's happening within BitLab. But we try to really provide as much free value as we can so you all can stay in the know and dominate these markets. So come over to BitLab Academy. And for those of you, before we launch, if you do get involved and you become a member of BitLab Academy before we go live, you're going to be able to keep the current lower price, the current price of BitLab Academy for the life of your account, because prices are going up once we roll over to the new website. So with that, all I have to say is I can't wait to share this all with you, and I will see you on the inside there. Now, let's go ahead and jump back over here. Let me see if my boy is on the screen here. I got him in the house. So again, if you have not yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell. I'm going to throw it straight to my main man here. How you doing, Mr. Bill Noble? How you feeling?
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. Just making sure your audio, okay, everything's good. I'm doing good. You know, the markets, tell me if you're feeling like this at all. We get a small pullback after some pretty large bullish impulses that have sort of started this narrative, at least, about the bull market has started again. Of course, we know these things take time, and you can only truly say it's established in basically with Captain Hindsight. But looking at the structure, we do have bullish structure, and we've had some strong bullish impulses. Now we get such a small pullback, and we see the bears come out of the woodwork. People think it's over. What would you say to that? How are you feeling about the market? I'm excited about what's happening because for me, it looks like a setup for something pretty major could be brewing.
I tell people that it's not a bull market until you can buy a dip and make money. So dips are great tests. Obviously, if you can buy them and get gratification, then you're essentially proving to yourself, you're educating yourself that it is a bull market. Now, when it becomes, Bitcoin is a part of a larger macro picture. It's effectively long Bitcoin, short the banks for real. Okay. And everyone knows it. So frequently what happens is everyone will get the same way, right? Everyone will get long Bitcoin, and then you'll have an event and it'll get flushed out. People get flushed out probably over the weekend. That's what you're going to see. And then what happens is, people can get stopped out right where they should be entering. Just because it's a bull market, that doesn't mean it's easy to trade. Like the big players know it's a bull market. They know where your stops are, or they know that, no fault of your own, but I mean, people probably FOMO'd in above 30, and they're going to stop those people out. Bears are out there saying whatever they're saying. That's fine. Always respect other people's opinion, but, don't get stopped out where you should be buying it.
It's kind of like I've heard so many people say, friends of mine, family of mine, this narrative of, man, I knew about Bitcoin back in 2012, or I knew about Bitcoin. I would be so rich if I bought it back then. The truth is, there's very few people that bought back then that are still holding, and those people are incredibly wealthy, in terms of their holdings, and maybe they've diversified some. But Captain Hindsight does not serve current, everyday in the charts trading and decision making, because you can look back and say, man, if I would have bought that dip and I would have sold that top. The truth is, most people don't have the separation of emotional hijacking that the market does, and they also don't have the technical skills to set a target and stick with their target and practice good risk management. So exactly as you just said, when you get that dip and you can buy on dips and ride the rip. The truth is, most people, like you said, a lot of people, the only way price got up to 31,000 is somebody bought there from somebody else that was selling. So during looking at the markets as it is right now, we're getting a little bit of a pullback. I know I'd like to kind of go back and forth in the show. This time, get on some charts a little early, and then we can also intermix some discussion in this. Looking at the Bitcoin chart as it is right now, do you have any major line, a primary line in the sand and then a secondary line in the sand in terms of levels you're watching for not only just breaking trend, or, maybe there's a lot more worry that we should be having? Because as it stands right now, for me, above 25,000 is absolutely still bullish. For me, once we get down below, touching that short-term holder realized price around 23,500, that's when I would start to get worried. As it is right now, I'm just looking for targets for entries.
Okay, so great question. I was actually working on that this morning. So normally when you get a trend, right, you get a big move. Especially if it's the beginning of something bigger, it's completely normal to get a 38% retracement of a move, right? So the 38% retracement, even though the print is small, is 26.6, right? The DeMark work pulling this up shows that, essentially the 1 through 9, the 9 represents the first part of the trend concluding. then you see this sort of slump here. You may get, I don't know, 2 or 3 more days, because this is a 4-hour chart, because these red numbers can stretch all the way down to 13, right? That's the final part of the trend. So, for Bitcoin, if you swept everybody out below 27K, that's just a common sense region. Like, there were a lot of longs built up inside this zone, right? So that's why I'm trying to say, don't get stopped out where you should be buying, because I think they're going to put pressure on all the people who got long in here, right? So if you have this ugly weekend, you can bet that that's hedge fund trading desks working late over the weekend to try to find your stops in ETH. It's kind of the same thing. There's 1867. That's a level. And then there's 1846 underneath that. So if you have 2 or 3 more down days, what kind of crazy wick could happen over the weekend? A lot of times when crypto makes these bottoms, I remember last year, like, every big top and every big bottom was made on a Saturday or a weekend. Like, if you just bought or sold crypto on a weekend, you could probably take the whole week off, because you would find the extreme, and that makes sense. Markets make extremes when stops get run and everyone's not paying attention. So that's how I would round out the answer to your question.
No, I mean, I completely agree with that. Do you feel like on that topic regarding weekends, I know it's kind of gone through 3 different phases I've noticed in the markets, Bitcoin and crypto markets, since I've been involved, where there was not much different on the weekends than the weekdays. And then smarter money players started getting involved that also had some traditional trading experience. And then that shifted to the weekends had less liquidity, and, it was more retail minded people. So you could, the markets, like you said, they would push to those extremes. But then what I've sort of noticed over the last year or so is it's kind of hit or miss now, weekends and during the week. There's no real clear difference between a weekend and the week. Some weekends are more volatile, but sometimes, a midweek pivot like a traditional assets are, where, you have a rise during the front half of the week and then the fall the second half of the week. Or if you're in a downtrend, a fall in the first half of the week and then a rise in the second half of the week. And I'm starting to see kind of an intermixing of those two. Are you seeing anything similar to that?
I'm not noticing any distinct patterns. I mean, weekends have been pretty dead. Really, crypto's really only moving 2 or 3 days a week now.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, if you're going to flush people out, you're going to do it on weekends where there's less liquidity, and, people can just, run stops on leveraged order books and just hoover everything up, because, the narrative hasn't changed. The only thing that's changed is people got really enthusiastic, saw the 30K print, right? And then, they dropped the market because, the government had to sell Mt. Gox Bitcoin, and, Shanghai stakers did, what I was telling people they were going to do. If you had to sell $5 billion worth of Ethereum, or even $1 billion worth of Ethereum, what's the difference if you went in and bought $50 million worth of leveraged perpetuals to get a rally going, to suck everyone in so you could sell, and then, the market drops after that. So it's just really a function of not being being a retail trader and not getting caught in these institutional ebb and flows, and assuming that they mean anything, right? Like, people had to sell, so somebody bid it up and then hammered everybody. That dropped the market. People are like, oh my God, it means something. And I'm like, oh my God, it doesn't. It's a dip, right? People are going to get stopped out, and then that's where you want to be there. The inverse is going on in legacy. Everybody knows commercial real estate is going to blow up. And if you look at a chart of Blackstone, right? BX is the symbol. Blackstone has done nothing but go up for the last 2 weeks. Now, I think it's topping out, but, sometimes the trades that everybody think, or everybody knows these trades are the consensus trades, it can go the other way in your face. It can. Like, I don't know if you're showing Blackstone right now. Like, so Blackstone is the largest owner of commercial real estate. This is a great lesson for people in crypto. So, everybody knows that this is going to blow up. This is going to blow up. Sky high, like 2008. Worse. Okay, Blackstone, trades in a range, and then it basically goes straight up, right? To the point where you've got the 13 top that ends the uptrend, along with the 9 top. I mean, it doesn't get any stronger of a signal. And, this dotted line is automatically drawn by this quantitative system. So, everybody got stopped out from 78 to 91. I mean, that's a pretty big move for a stock. All the shorts get stopped out, and now you can see on these red candles, they're going to drop it now. They're going to drop it. So, that's why over the weekend, if they run stops in Bitcoin with this commercial real estate nightmare happening. So, for example, legacy and crypto may sort of correct together. But then as soon as Bitcoin gets to a certain point and runs stops, people are going to come running back in and go, okay, I want this. Oh, goody. It's at 26 or 27. Cool. Wave it in. Meanwhile, Blackstone, Schwab, all these other, even S&P, right? I don't know how S&P, just big picture, I don't know how S&P is going to deal with all this data showing the economy's kind of falling out of bed, with the Fed effectively telling you yesterday that they don't see inflation going back down to 2% for 2 years, which means they're going to keep tightening. They're going to keep tightening until something like visibly, clearly cracks, till you're in full crisis mode. And that's ideal for Bitcoin eventually, which means institutions are going to come in and be like I said, oh, you guys are doing 27 now? Oh God, cool.
Well, that's a perfect sort of pivot back to the discussion. And the thumbnail for today's stream was massive shift in markets. And essentially, I think people when they're just scrolling through YouTube and they see different thumbnails or titles to images. Even the other day, I was talking about a thumbnail that was a massive bull, basically major bullish setup. And of course, price action is pulling back. And, there's some people that message me like, why would you do that? And then we see the price action pull back. Because one, I know that they didn't watch the video. And two, there's differences between smaller time frame pullbacks and macro setups for larger moves, right? And so exactly as you were just saying before, you don't truly have a really established bull market until you're able to buy the dips and make profits. And so as it stands right now, looking at the macro of S&P 500 or Dow Jones or any of these, there's obviously a lot of uncertainty that you can see in the markets. I know, we got gold on a rising channel there. We had S&P 500 on a rising wedge. They're basically retesting levels from before it broke down. And there's uncertainty in the markets, but we've talked about this. You and I talked about this about 2 or 3 weeks ago. There is an underlying narrative shift that, at least if it's not taken hold yet, it's definitely the seed is planted, and there is some developments there in the narrative away from banks, and the massive, basically perpetual fraud that the banking system is. That very small percentages of people are starting to gain awareness of, but Bitcoin every day has another day in the thousands now that it is up and active and growing and has, stronger network with more dispersion across global dispersion and decentralization across the world. And so the massive shift that really I'm seeing set up, and especially, setting up into this next bull run, is exactly what you're just talking about. We're having issues with the way monetary policies being handled, not only in the U.S., but most countries. We're seeing global liquidity start to go up in the Eastern countries, and there's this sort of narrative shift. I'm sure you watched at least some of the clips with Gary Gensler with the congressional hearing. The main topic that really stood out to me was when they started talking about it, us having unfavorable or lack of clarity and regulation for Bitcoin and digital assets is now posing itself to be a national security threat. as Eastern countries, China primarily, is starting to open the gates for that and support it and actually pump liquidity in the markets as well. So this is the sort of massive shift that I'm talking about that's developing, and I'm glad that you pointed this out. Whether it's reflected in Bitcoin's price in the next 3 months or 3 years is irrelevant. It is inevitable for Bitcoin to have not only an explosive run, but an explosion in adoption that we have not yet seen. What's your thoughts with that and the context of everything with Gary Gensler? Is this giving you any hope on the markets and regulation and what's brewing? Or are you just letting that kind of be something that's in your ear and just focus on the charts?
The SEC is a law enforcement organization, right? They pass regulation, but they have a law enforcement function. Okay, well, the question for Gensler is, what law are you trying to enforce? They haven't passed a regulation. Congress hasn't passed a regulation. I mean, somebody was giving Gensler a hard time he asked Gensler, should we make everybody declare how many blue shirts they own? Yeah. How many blue shirts do you own? Just because, that's, you're on, you've got the blue shirt burr in your new or what today? No. So Gensler is trying to enforce something that doesn't exist. Now, if that's what he's doing, why is he doing it? This is something I haven't talked much about. Gensler doesn't operate in a vacuum. He doesn't, right? He takes orders from other people. He could be talking to the executive branch. He could be talking to the intelligence community. He could be talking to the Fed. And he's maybe has orders to say, look, man, there's trouble brewing. There's no liquidity in a treasury bond market. I don't know how we're going to issue all these bonds. You better do something to get on the tape and slow crypto down. Because let's face it, 100K Bitcoin embarrasses the U.S. government. This whole talk about, whether or not the dollar is the reserve currency. Okay, well, maybe one day it won't be as prominent as it is now. I don't think anybody's switching over to the Chinese currency right now. I kind of think that's toilet paper as well. Problem is they're trying to slow down Bitcoin, and they know that there are huge problems out there. They're just trying to slow it down. Now, you can't let that get in your way. I've heard people say, well, I can't buy because of regulation. Oh, don't do that. Don't buy into that.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there when the blue shirt thing. I think that was in response to there was climate regulation that he was ESG reporting that Gary Gensler was trying to push and force companies to have compliance on. And it was actually nice to see that discourse because it took the topic away, especially for people that are arguing from the traditional mindset sort of people, not in finance. I'm talking about just everyday mom and pop, aunt, uncle, brother that don't have deep awareness about Bitcoin and crypto yet. And they hear people like Jim Cramer or Gary Gensler or, any Janet Yellen, any of these people that are just completely fudding the facts. They're not sharing facts. They're sharing just narrative FUD. But that does have an effect on those people. But having them discuss the climate change issues, climate change reporting issues, I thought was interesting because it highlights that it was a direct, almost metaphor to the crypto regulation, digital asset regulation issue, because he was quoting similarly to the whatever congressional acts or laws from like 1933 for assets and securities. Similarly to other legislation that was passed in the 30s for reporting for businesses. And, in the 1930s, there was nothing whatsoever, even within the same universe of reporting about climate change, because it wasn't even something that had been discussed in any way yet. And he was trying to draw conclusions that, well, they said this, so that people need to report about climate change stuff. And it was nice to see a topic that had a parallel that was about something else, so people could see, basically that this is just all a bunch of manufactured stress on the economy is really all it is.
Right. And you also have to remember, if the media or even regulators or some Congress, whatever they're talking about is the wrong thing to talk about. We talked about this earlier, if everybody's saying the same thing, it's wrong. The topic that people should be talking about is crypto decoupling from legacy, right? Like if legacy kind of blows up, crypto may, lurch with it. Okay. But the decoupling trade is coming. In other words, why buy the dip? Why take the risk? You may have to actively trade this thing. You may get 31, 27, 32. You may get a lot of wild, choppy action. What's $8,000 a coin between friends in Bitcoin? But the key is don't get shaken out, because the decoupling trade, which everyone's been looking for, I don't know, since 2016, is going to happen this year, in my opinion. It's not investment advice. The question is, how do you get ready for it? So it's funny when it comes to crypto, everyone's talking climate change. I get it. That's what's on the news. But that's not the tradable narrative, right? So is a lower dollar. The Fed has a kind of a tricky pickle that they're in. They want the dollar lower because the only way to solve a debt crisis is to get the currency devalued or materially lower. U.S. government has let the dollar go down dramatically before. It's not a problem, right? The only question is, how do you get a much lower dollar without getting 250K Bitcoin, with everybody going, egg on your face? Because, you've got the Chinese and the Russians trying to create any negative PR about America that they can regarding the dollar. So it's a dance. They want the dollar lower for sure. They just want to slow down crypto because they don't want crypto at 250K. Now, how does crypto get to 250K? Well, it's simple. $56 trillion that's the total assets in the pension fund system globally. $17 trillion is the total amount in deposited in U.S. banks. I'll spare you the math. You get 1% of pension fund money and 1% of deposits coming into crypto, forget about it. Crypto just would go vertical. And I think that's what you're going to see, after legacy does its heave in the fall.
Yeah, I mean, forget about it. It's the only way you can really say it, because it'd be something. It'd be the likes of which it'd be the God candles that we've never even seen before if that were to happen, because at that level, it would become a competitive race too. Once those people start onboarding, then each one of those different funds, there's obviously clear sort of data, and the narrative has started to shift into the traditional minds into a deeply permeating way. That also probably means regulation is as such that's allowing them more safety to do so, with all the regulations that are tied with pension funds. But then all the different money market funds, index funds, all these things, it would be a competitive race to see who could stack the most in the best way, so that they could have the right kind of exposure. And those of us that are retail, which is 99% of everybody, I doubt that I've ever had even an institutional person watch this stream. Institutional people have different places that they get their data from. 99% of the people that are in the crypto ecosystem are retail traders. Even our friends, BitBoy, when he had $35 million, that's still retail. The amount of money. My dad told me when I was a kid, I don't remember what it was. I'd gotten like $100, or it was some not very nominal amount of money. And I was just, I was probably like 5 or 6. And I was so surprised that I'd gotten this gift. And he goes, Kelly, one day you're going to wake up and realize, when you're an adult, I don't know at what point, you're going to realize how much money is in this world, and it's like we can feel like we've made it when we're making $70,000 a year, or $100,000, or even $200,000. But there's always thousands of, or if not millions of people that make exponentially more than you do. And the amount of money that's in these pension funds and money, I mean, there's so much money in this world. And for those of us that are retail trying to get involved in the crypto ecosystem, everybody in chat, I commend you all for being here and at least interested so early. But if you're just waiting for the absolute perfect time to buy, the only perfect time to buy is when you've made a decision that you've done enough diligence and you are willing to commit for a period of time. Then that's the perfect time. That's all I could say, because once the train starts rolling, there's going to be so much retail buying. I mean, I can't wait till the price gets up to $400,000 and there's somebody that buys, even if it's 0.01 Bitcoin at $400,000, only to see a retracement down, 40, 50%, and that's going to be multi-$100,000 drop, and it's going to shock people. But if we can be patient and see into the future of these things happening, it gives you a lot more courage. It gives everybody, it will give you more courage knowing what's coming by understanding the fundamentals of the space, and not just a retail adoption, but the institutional adoption that's coming. You don't get so worried about a 3% or a 5% drop.
Yeah, I think there's a conception amongst retail. I heard this on a stream yesterday. You can't get a 10x in Bitcoin. You have to move. You have to move to small altcoins because you can't get a 10x in Bitcoin. I'm like, really? Okay. Well, these people may need to think again, because you got to remember, it's like, as you said, total crypto market cap is like what? $1 trillion and change. Total Bitcoin market cap is what? 500 something. That's nothing. Apple is worth close to $1 trillion, right? Probably if ChatGPT went public, that would be worth $1 trillion, right? So if you look at a $56 trillion pension system and a $17 trillion world of bank deposits, Bitcoin compared to legacy is an altcoin. So don't think if that money moves to crypto that Bitcoin can't move like an altcoin, right? Especially, like 40 million Fidelity customers can push a button and be in crypto.
No, I mean, you make an excellent point there, because what we've seen so far is Bitcoin's exponential part. If we're not even talking about altcoins, if we're talking just about Bitcoin, the exponential growth in Bitcoin has been fueled and supported by primarily retail traders. There's been some small institutional exposure here and there, but it is primarily retail traders. And therefore, once those gates open, that institutions really start pouring their capital in. I actually hadn't thought about it that way, but that's such a beautiful way that you just brought that up. When institutions start coming in, and we look at the size, the market cap of gold, what's it, about $12 trillion or $14 trillion right now or something? You look at housing market, you look at pension funds, there's so much out there that when people start moving their assets to hedge, even at a 1% allocation from traditional asset classes into Bitcoin to traditional asset classes is like the movement Shiba Inu can get to Bitcoin because of the differences in you know what I mean? It's like Bitcoin is like a meme stock compared to large traditional asset caps.
Yeah. I mean, there's such a focus that I have to be in altcoins to make money. Like that is the mentality. I mean, we had Kermit, we had, Pepe, I believe is how you say it. You had the frog memes moving. And then typically, as is the case in crypto, when you get these little speculative manias, right? You get these mini manias. It was ApeCoin before Celsius. Boom, the market drops, right? People who miss the move in Bitcoin, they get desperate. And then they move into, effectively gambling, which is, that's fine if you've got the capital in a trading portfolio to allocate that. But I just think the people who are chasing meme coins, they may be missing the really big trade, which is that you could get involved in something that, doesn't go up 1,000% and then go to zero. You could get something that moves like in say 10 and 20% increments that you could accumulate. And then eventually, like, I don't know, maybe use options, not investment advice in the fall. When the time comes for Bitcoin to go, you're going to say to yourself, oh my God, how many opportunities in 2022 and 2023 did I have to try and hoover this up?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have somebody on my site, we're playing around with things like astrology and Gann work and planetary movements, and that's cool. And that's very useful, but it's useful within the context of, frankly, this is going up. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
this is going up and it's a revolution. Like, for example, did you see the French retail storming the stock exchange the other day?
Oh yeah, BlackRock offices too. Yeah.
Right. Following, what's going on in grocery stores in certain neighborhoods, certain Chicago aldermen putting out posters, show up that, tonight's riot starts at this location, like some sort of like a high school dance, like, oh, for tonight's party, show up here. Now, this is a sign of people who are completely dissatisfied. And if you really shake the tree, this is when people are going to go, oh, wait a minute. I need to simply get off the legacy elevator and get onto the crypto elevator.
Oh, absolutely, man. And I just want to say, everybody that's in chat right now, I see you all. I'm watching the chat as we're talking. I really appreciate everybody being here. Shout out to my dad, Brad Kellam, here in chat. All the mods, Brad Guidell, Alexander G, Chemistry Bro, King Peasant, Alex Green, Crimson Caravan Company. There's so many people in here. I really appreciate everybody tuning in. I hope hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Ding that bell because it does help keep this channel moving forward. And I just want to shout out Mr. Bill Noble's page, which you can find right here at crypto_noble. Make sure you're following him. We got a lot more to talk about. I'm just taking a little break to make sure that you all are following this wonderful personality in the space. He's got a lot of wisdom in traditional markets as well as crypto. So I'm happy to be having him on as a guest most Fridays now. And again, if you haven't yet, come over to the BitLab Academy page right here on Twitter at Academy BitLab. Like this or follow BitLab Academy and retweet this. We're going to be doing a $100 giveaway at the end of the show, as well as another giveaway. And in order to enter that, you need to like the BitLab page and retweet this tweet. So I'm just after that, I'm going to hop right back over to you, Bill. I'm going to ask you a pressing question. It's not pressing. It's just I think it's interesting, being what we were just talking about with Bitcoin and how much is to come with that. And I don't know what your portfolio allocation would be. We don't need to get into that, but let's say 70, let's just assume you have a portfolio allocation of 70% Bitcoin. If you had to hold 5 total tokens, 5 total coins, so Bitcoin plus 4 for the next minimum 5 years, what projects would you be looking at to round out that portfolio if you had to hold it for 5 years and not trade any of the volatility?
Okay, well, that's a robust question. I think Polkadot has to be in there, right? Because the day that thing gets turned on, you could have security tokens. So I think anything that has to do with securitized assets, right? Because you're going to discover there is no liquidity in legacy. Multiple banks have said, there's going to be $4 trillion in tokenized assets. Yeah. So from what I know, okay, Polkadot with Polymath, which is trying to become Polymesh for issuing security tokens, right? I think ETH is an obvious choice only because it's the currency of culture. You really got to ask yourself, everybody keeps talking about ChatGPT. Okay, that's nice. But really the advent of AI, I think, is going to be who you're hanging out with in the metaverse, right? I mean, you're going to be hanging out with AI-based creatures in the metaverse. And how are you going to do e-commerce in the metaverse? Well, it's probably ETH, and it's probably a privacy coin. So if I had to take a flyer, I might throw Zcash in there. I know Zcash has done boo on this bull run, but I just can't believe people are going to do transactions inside the metaverse and then have people be able to instantly go and look at your wallet and be like, oh, look at how much this guy has. I mean, when you go to Macy's, even if you pay with a bank card, does the person at Macy's know, what you had in your bank account? I don't think so, not legally. Yeah. So I don't know, Bitcoin, ETH, Zcash, Polkadot. I would throw Avalanche in there only because I know Avalanche has like a security token function to it. And then,
with Avalanche too, just this goes back to due diligence for anybody out there. If you're just buying because people are talking about stuff, go and find stuff that's interesting. One of the things I find really interesting about Avalanche is the fact that the way that they, the benefit of new projects as they come on is that they can see the shortcomings that were with any other protocols that are there. The downfall is it's a lot more risk. So with Avalanche, it's been established long enough now that I think the risk is somewhat minimized in that factor. But the fact that they saw the downfall of a lot of bottlenecks in throughput because of new innovation and new inclusions on chain, like for instance NFTs and other stuff with other blockchains. And they designed a protocol that has three different basically chains. They have the C chain, the X chain, and the B
That's
chain.
Right.
So it allows for, rather than having one highway where if there's an emergency, there's, nonstop traffic and it's a traffic jam. They have multi-layer traffic that is segmented for different things so they can, and it's infinitely scalable. All you have to do is add a new node. And you have 4,500 new transaction per second on that node. And it's basically, it's an amazing chain, especially with their partnership with Amazon. I'm really interested to see what comes of that, or if it was just a marketing ploy and it's some sort of soft side partnership,
Yeah. And I think the last one, first of all, one of those side chains in Avalanche, I think can be used for security tokens.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not a blockchain scientist. And then I think, the final one, honestly, is Cardano. I talked Cardano with, we did like a little showdown thing with, my astrology tarot card co-host. We did Cardano, XRP, and Chainlink. And she picked up on Cardano, okay, just knowing nothing about it. And then I explained to her that, Cardano is trying to basically not be Ethereum. It's trying to not be a gambling house, or maybe trying to add value for society, although I'm sure they'd be perfectly happy if the gamblers came and the token went to $5. But when I explained to her that the guy that runs it, sees like a higher mission for Cardano, I mean, her eyes just lit up. I was like, oh, wow. I mean, that's kind of in line with what I was seeing. So I realized that is way outside the box. But what people don't know about technical analysts is that way back in the day, we were considered the voodoo priests of financial markets, right? Everyone's doing TA now in crypto, but way back when, we were the guys into mysterious. We had license to be weird.
But you're talking also, like, I think I was talking with my cousin's daughter, and she asked what I used to watch on YouTube when I was a kid, and I didn't know how to describe to her. When I was a kid, there wasn't even internet. So let alone YouTube. And similarly,
right.
When we're talking about TA has become such like I don't want to call it a mainstay, but it's become such a almost bastardized art because anybody can do it. So people think that they see a Head and Shoulders and they know TA, and there's so much more that goes in that with confluence and understanding the correlation between different assets. And a correlation does not mean it's going to be a perfect map for something to happen. It's just a suggest. There's so much that goes into it. And the reason I bring that up in terms of this reference to YouTube and just time and history, you've been doing TA since before TradingView was something everybody had. You're doing it, on a graph chart, drawing out the bars on paper, which is a whole different thing. It's a deep understanding of it, Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I used to work at the futures exchange, I had a chart program called CQG on a monitor on a desk, and I could watch the chart, as I looked out into the giant mass of humanity in the long bond pit. So I got this incredible education where I got to learn charts while watching, 3,000 people, operate the bond pit while having, the entire world essentially go through there. Two other side stories. When I first got into crypto, I went to work for a research group run by Charlie Shrem. And I remember, I worked remote, but I showed up at the at the office, and then somebody mentioned TA. And I was like, what's TA? They're like, technical analysis. Well, I'd never called it that before. And then I had somebody else tell me, giving me feedback on my analysis. And they're like, Bill, for crypto, you need to make your charts a lot more colorful. I'm like, what? Like, yeah, people in crypto like to see like all kinds of bright colors.
TA is now, it's like somebody in the space that's a personality. Your TA becomes your business card in a sense. It's like you have to do it in a marketing friendly way. Like sometimes I'll have stuff that's a great chart, and I'm like, in the past I'll bring it up and it's like, it might just go over somebody's head. So it's like, okay, how do I don't want to say dumb it down, but how do I get to the simplest thing that's exemplifying the most important factor that I'm trying to share in this post? You know, it's very bizarre.
Right. And it's funny about crypto TA because, you know, I've seen this, you know, a lot of times people will pull up a chart system, right? They'll talk about it, but they're kind of talking over everybody's head. You know, they're not really explaining what people are looking at. Now, I try to do that as best I can, but sometimes I wonder if like talking over people's head, making them feel stupid is a way some of these guys market their products. Now, I don't do it that way. Obviously, you're running BitLab. You're in education. You're not doing it that way. All right. But I always like to tell people, you know, if you run into a technical analyst in a $3,000 suit, now that was Wall Street times, run the other way. Because technical analysts at their core, good ones, should really want to help people and reduce the stress of trading, right? You should be in service of others.
Yeah, I mean, that's the main mission of this channel. Because of course we have our paid area as well for the BitLab Academy, which is actually, you know, broken down and catered courses to each specific focus topic with resources and materials and quizzes. It's a full like education process. But what we really wanted to do was, even though we had that, we wanted to make sure as a whole that if I expect and I believe in Bitcoin getting to a certain place, a way to help push that along is to push knowledge and awareness along so people understand what's going on in the market. So the focus of this channel and having you on, which I'm so thankful to have you on as regularly as we do now. And, you know, the topics we focus on in the show, of course, we break down TA. Of course, we talk about some price targets, and that's inevitably part of what has to happen because people want that. But the goal is, and the focus is, you know, my sort of mission statement is bridging the gap from beginner to pro. So not just doing TA and giving somebody a target, spoon feeding somebody. We want to really make sure that it's like, okay, how did we arrive at this? Okay, if we're arriving at this as a target, how do we get that and why? And then, okay, if that's the target, have you planned a course for the opposite direction? Because anybody that starts trading, my dad, throw an emoji here in chat if you agree with this. I know it will. He'll tell you if you want the market to go down, just have him buy. If you want it to go up, just have him sell. And the truth is that's the plague of many traders in the space, because we don't realize early on in investing and trading how hijacked we are by the emotionality of trading, how hijacked we are by the knowledge of the smart money players and market makers in the space, truly multi-hundred million dollar accounts that also coordinate with each other, believe it or not, here and there. But they also are aware of what each other are doing because they can see it in the order books. They can see, okay, we're up at this resistance. If we push just past it, we're going to get a lot of people committed long. That's going to give us a liquidity that we need to go short. And then they can get everybody committed going short. And you know, people are holding off, and finally they go short, and then the market, okay, they got the liquidity they needed, and then they actually blast off in the direction that you thought it was going initially anyway. So they got liquidity and made money going up, faking you out, and then committing you short, got the liquidity that way, made money on the downside, and then they have a lower entry with more capital to go long. And so it's more important than anything that everybody watching this stream and anybody that involves himself in crypto and trading and investing commits themselves to doing more diligence than you think you need to, and learning more and practicing the fundamentals more than you think you need to, because you're literally trading with the capital that will make or break a difference in your life. And in addition to that, if you fail or you go all in because you thought you heard somebody on a stream somewhere saying a target, and then you go all in, and then you get wicked out or you get liquidated because you were trading irresponsibly. And then what happens is you become a negative beacon for the crypto space, because then your friends and family see you down in the dumps. They know you lost your life savings. They know you lost this, whatever. We want everybody to succeed. You know, I want everybody in this chat to make the amount of money that makes a difference in their life, even if it's starting with $100. That's how I started in crypto. I didn't know anything about it. I had done some light trading in traditional assets, but I started with doing like $100 a month allocation, and I became like a snake charmer. I just completely got entranced, And I spent, not everybody has this ability, but I was spending 40 to 80 hours a week the first 2 years just diving into knowledge and learning. Then I was an idiot. I didn't maintain my humility. And I don't know if you know Didi Taihutu, the Bitcoin family, a guy. We had him on the other day, and also MDX Crypto. I think MDX Crypto is the one that said it. A trader that's not humble is a trader that's poor, because once you realize that this market, as much as you may know and learn about trading and technical analysis, this market will do things that you absolutely feel like you could never have prepared for. But if you practice healthy risk management as a part of your process, then you're always prepared for it to go the other way.
Right. I mean, my father used to say he was a stockbroker in a cube with Merrill Lynch. I mean, he started in 1974 where he could not get somebody to buy one share of stock. That's how bad that market was. Right. Right. And then in 2000, he took one look at what was going on with internet stocks, kind of waited for one of their top analysts to get fired. Like one of the smartest guys in the market ever got fired for warning people 6 months in advance about the top in NASDAQ. They fired him. My father goes, oh, you know what I'm going to do? Sell everything and retired. So he went from, nobody wants a share to absolute mania over the course of, 30 something years. As far as trading lessons go and humility, every trader who's ever traded has sold the low and bought the high.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the same move.
Yeah.
Everybody has done that. And my father, my final analogy about my dad is, he used to say, when everyone calls me up and say, where should I buy? You should sell. And then he would call me up and say, when everybody comes in and says, where should I sell? Then you should buy. Right. In other words, I developed this funny thing. It's called fade yourself. Right. If you have a trade and you look at the P&L and you go, oh my God, that's a lot of money. Believe it or not, that's probably the top. You don't need a quantitative chart system. You need your own internal energy to go, wow. And then, heaven forbid, you look at that number and you throw a party and, you're all spirited up and you're wearing a lampshade on your head, then that could be a cycle top. Right.
What's funny about that? It makes me think about last cycle top and the top in 2017. Both times I was so impressed with myself because my portfolio, I was just like, yo, I've never had this much money. I was screenshotting my portfolio app. I was like, and it was like, that's the perfect exemplification of what you just said. Cause I was so impressed with it. And I'll tell you what, the 3 times I've done it, which was the top in 2017, the top at 64 and the top at 69, all 3 of those times within 3 days, the market went the absolute other direction. So, I mean, that's a great analogy, but hey, let's give these people what I know they want to see. Let's pull up some charts. Maybe we can do Bitcoin, a look at Bitcoin, where it's at, some levels. And then we can visit AVAX and Cardano since you brought those up. And then maybe we'll kind of take it from there if we still have more time.
Okay. So, maybe we can pull up Bitcoin on like a 2-day chart.
Yeah.
Let's try this. If I can make this work, sharing the screen now. Okay. So here's Bitcoin on a 2-day chart, right? Now, some people may wonder, well, why did the market go down? Like, why did it go down? Well, one technical base reason is that, you had a lot of big new highs, right? So you got an RSI reading here, and then you had multiple new highs. You had a new high here, and here, right? And just so everybody knows, I can mark this RSI reading. Okay. This is actually Bitcoin 2-day chart. All right. So, I mean, Bitcoin rose and rose and rose and rose, and it kept making all these new highs. I can actually draw them out this way. So there's a new high. there's a new high, and there's a new high, right? But down here, as you can see, you're making kind of lower highs in the 13-day RSI. All right. These are 13 two-day periods. Frequently, what you can get with crypto, if you want to get an edge, you start looking at time frames nobody's looking at. Like I like 89-minute, 2-day, 3-day,
Absolutely.
two-week, right? Now, of course, I just gave away the secret, but if I had to give it away to anybody, I would want to give it away to the BitLab audience, right?
Yeah.
So when you have these divergences, okay, basically, guys will call them bear div, which is I kind of like that because it just kind of it kind of allows them to just say it without having to go through the War and Peace lecture I just did. So when you have bear div on a long-term chart, like a 2-day, that usually doesn't get resolved in like one decline. You usually have to have, like down, everything is all right, down, and then maybe there's something like a final wick after that. This is why I'm trying to tell people, they can shake the tree. George Soros will tell you in 2008, I knew exactly what was going to happen. I had the exact position set up, but my position was too big and I got washed out. And then the move happened and I missed it.
Yeah.
You don't want that to happen in Bitcoin. So when you look at you look at these divergences, you ask yourself, all right, let me not get shaken out. Now, if you go to Cardano, right? Okay, now I'm just like totally switching gears.
No, while you're switching gears, I just want to do a special shout out.
Sorry.
We're getting a barrage of some wonderful super chats here. I just want to shout out Matt C. Thank you. He said big shout out to the 2 absolute crypto legends. Thank you, Kelly and Bill. He did the guns with the rocket ship, and thank you very much for that $20, Matt C. I really appreciate you, my brother. Matt Goddell agreed with Matt C. BitLab and all the guests. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Bill. And Elliot Locke also $5 said, I got Investor Bros to take on how low. I got the Investor Bros take on how low ADA could potentially go in the next weekish. What are your thoughts? Love the show, Kelly. Thank you all to all the super chats. We don't really push those, but they really help. All these lights and the camera and the internet and not being at another job. Those really help. I really want to say how much I appreciate it. Thank you all very much. Back to you, Billy Boy. Sorry about that.
Right, no problem. No, it's quite all right. So, I mean, when you go to Cardano, right, at a tactical level, Cardano has got a good job of, washing out all these people that came smoking in between, 39 and 50 cents. There may be one more flush. Now, when you look at Cardano on a weekly chart, okay, so this is a little bit more nuanced. So DeMark was a quant technical analyst. He was the original. I mean, Paul Tudor Jones gave DeMark a skyscraper full of C++ programmers to make this system or make these indicators. Okay, so this is Cardano weekly. This dotted line is automatically drawn by this trend measuring system is what I'm calling it. So when you see a green 1, that means a trend could be beginning. All right, when you get to a 9, that means the trend should pause. Now, there's a nuance with this, right? So as a trend begins, it'll go 1, 2, 3. And then on the 4th candle, you'll usually get or sometimes get a dip, right? Because think about it, Cardano's up, 6 weeks in a row and everyone's like, oh my God, I need to FOMO in. They FOMO in at resistance and then it gets dropped. And then everyone looks at this candle on this 4 and goes, oh my God, this is going to 0. When in fact, when they puked this thing over the weekend, if you're a Cardano believer, that whole like, when in doubt, zoom out kind of thing. I mean, when you look at the big picture in Cardano, I mean, this is called the bigger the base, the higher in the space, simply because Cardano has done nothing for a year. It's done nothing, right? It went straight down and then it sat around for a year. And, I know in crypto, we talk about 4-year cycles. So sometimes people think a year is not a long time. It actually is. It's a really long time, especially for something like as volatile as a crypto instrument to just sit dead. So, if you get a tactical,
if I can't keep a diet for more than 4 weeks, a year is a long time. That's for sure.
that's right. That's right. So, everyone's like, oh, well, I'm just going to give up on this. actually, when you're in these basing periods, you don't want to give up at that point because, if you go back to Cardano, remember Cardano was around for a long time, right? I mean, Cardano did one of these basing mechanisms all through 2020, and all it took was, perhaps a fundamental shift in crypto and BitBoy going, I like this. And this thing just smoked higher. Now, if you go to Avalanche, right? Avalanche is doing much of the same thing, except Avalanche has done a better job at trying to press through resistance. So back on the Cardano chart, that 50-cent zone, there's kind of a brick wall waiting for him there. Now, in an Avalanche, you can see, there was a breakout above a key point at 1887. They've tried to break through this before. So, everyone knows this is there. This is the pre-FTX high. So we're doing this dance, and we're doing stop out the shorts, stop out the longs, which sometimes happens, and then look at Avalanche, right? It goes up, everyone fumbles in on the 4, and then it gets dropped.
Well, so, one of the things I want to say here for people looking at a chart like this, whether it's Bitcoin, any asset really in the crypto space, the majority are, facing a bit of a pullback right now. Not every single one, but the large majority, especially most of the, all the top caps and mid caps and Bitcoin as well. We have to realize that when we're forming a new bullish structure, if we have a pullback like this and price resumes higher, that's actually strengthens the bullish case because it means the bears were dominated by bullish narrative. In addition to that, what's nice about seeing something like this is exactly what you just said, is it kind of cleans up the health of the market. Because when you have 64, we showed this on stream the other day on CoinGlass. The other day, right before the drop, it was like 64% long versus short. And so when you have the majority going long, that's, I wouldn't specifically only trade on that, but if you're seeing that, it's like, okay, well, what are my other indicators saying? And you're going to get a healthy pullback. And if you're able to hold levels and you form a new, you maintain the low that you have, it's still a higher low, then you're strengthening the case for the bulls and weakening the narrative for the bears. So this is really nice. And also to AVAX's credit, for anybody that doesn't know, there's the AVAX summit coming up, I think May 3rd to May 5th. So that I don't know if there's going to be any positive announcements with that or not, but there may be some increased volatility going into that and post summit as well.
Yeah, I mean, Avalanche has a partner with Amazon, and it's like no one cares. The conference probably provides a catalyst for people to wake up and go, "Oh my God," like everyone's selling this at $17. They hate it at 17, but last year prior to Celsius, they couldn't get enough of it last year in March at 100.
Yeah.
Probably the only thing that's changed is 1, price, and 2, Web 2 is going to have to buy Web 3. Like they will never be able to sustain their earnings growth. They will never be able to catch up with ChatGPT. They're going to have to invent something that's different. And the only way to do that is to embrace crypto and a lot of the existing crypto infrastructure that's there. So, I mean, the fact that Avalanche has a partnership with Amazon, it's amazing. Like, Matic will do some NFTs with Disney and get a lot of attention. The fact that, somebody like Amazon is talking about using Avalanche for its plumbing. I mean, I'm not trying to pump Avalanche, but Web 2 is going to buy Web 3. Web 3 probably starting, January next year, everyone's going to go, oh my God, I could have bought Avalanche, Solana, whatever right? No, it was BitBoy did a short. He's like, he's really pressing this narrative and he's right. He's going to be like, 4 years from now, people are going to go, oh my God, you were in 2023. He's right about that. He's so right about that. When you think about this Web 2, Web 3 thing, that's going to happen.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with all the sentiments. I think one of the biggest things that's for anybody that's trying to catch up, if you're trying to catch up right now, you're going to lose money. All you need to do is identify what assets within if we're looking in crypto, identify what assets are interesting to you and that you care to actually stay in tune with, looking at what's going on in the news around them, looking at the charts regularly. Some people will do it every day, all day long, like I do. Some people are only able to do it once a week, and that's okay. Find out what your time availability is and what your interests are, and stick to a strategy there. And don't try to catch up with somebody else that got in 2016 or 2015 or these levels. Do what's best for your portfolio. And if you're trying to make the most of every single move and you just started trading, the likelihood that you're not going to be, the market makers and smart money are not going to hack into your emotional sort of lizard brain trading, which is what happens to most traders, is very low. You're more likely to be trapped in these washouts both directions. So identify, as you just said, we have that base, that year-long base. There's a lot of people on that year-long base that have washed out 20%, 40%, 60% of their capital because they're emotionally trading, trying to front run things. The only front running, if you are that type of, if you know that you're within that camp, the only front running you should be doing is knowing that this 4-year cycle that is still heavily correlated with Bitcoin in the crypto markets. And if you're going to buy now, you're technically front running the bull market. And in this case, it's okay only if you have the ability to look at your time horizon. And if you buy and the price falls, you either add to your position or sit on your hands. You don't try to, basically get shaken out, which is what this market is doing. It's just shaking people out, giving smart money better positions for the long term.
Right. And on a more, kind of more serious note about altcoins. I mean, I know that, we're talking about a decent tactical dip in, say Avalanche or Cardano, but I'm also a big advocate, of active portfolio management, particularly into the fall, where, there's risk of an event. And I don't know if you still got the chart up, but this is total 3, right?
Yeah, it's still up.
So if you look at total 3, that's total crypto market cap without Bitcoin and Ethereum. So wouldn't it be, shocking if, Bitcoin went up to 45K and then on the correction, when Bitcoin comes back off and corrects back to, who knows, 28K, that resulted in altcoins as a group making a new low for the move. In other words, if there's a massive event in legacy that affects risk assets, Bitcoin may decouple in the sense that it won't go down as much. It won't make a new low. It'll hold, and then it'll skyrocket. But you got to start asking yourself, after this failure up here, will my altcoin make it? Or could my altcoin wind up, in this theoretical vortex lower?
Yeah.
You got to ask yourself these questions, right? Because one thing you talk about, everyone talks about cycles. I mean, if you could see the top 10 altcoins back in 2017 in market cap, you would laugh at what was there. Okay. So just, try to keep that in mind, because I know a lot of people are trying to hold on to stuff from the last cycle. Some of these things you need to reevaluate, I think.
So what, and you may have said this before, I want everybody to just be tuned in. What's your thinking for, I know you talked about the lunar eclipse that we have coming in April, which is also lining up with a lot of technicals that are starting to develop in the chat, in the charts, for, some curious things maybe coming to markets very soon. But what's your thoughts? Are there any technical reasons, or is it a timeline reason for October?
Okay. So good question. All right. So the hybrid solar eclipse, which is very rare, was last night. There have only been, I don't know, there's only been 12 of those, I think, since 1800. Depends on what resource you use. Most of them are associated with triggering financial crises or wars. Okay. That's extensive work from GAN and ChatGPT. Okay. So the solar eclipse, the rare eclipse, was last night. Now, what that brings in is very simply out with the old, in with the new. Me and my co-host did a video on this. So what the market did was it did in with the new, that's Bitcoin, and then out with the old is probably coming with legacy turmoil. Now, you've got a lunar eclipse on May 5th. Eclipses just create weird environments. So, don't discount volatility in legacy, right? The Fed comes out, the FOMC meeting comes out in early May. And then 3 days later is a lunar eclipse. So that just makes me want to hide under the desk, because if the Fed comes out and basically says nicely, we can acknowledge that the economy is rolling over, but we're not happy with what's going on with inflation. In other words, have you looked at, somebody brought this up yesterday. This is a weekly chart of a sugar stock. The price of sugar is just parabolic, right? Now it's probably topping out, but the point is the Fed may be looking at stuff like this and going, we're not done. We may have to continue to jam rates higher. And you know what? They may not care if they break things. I don't think they care. They're like, okay, well, we'll break stuff. Stuff needs, man, I just think it's Bitcoin. I think sell in May and go away is you sell at the end of May or like maybe on the 20th when there's a moon event. Okay, but these eclipses, to answer your question, involve rock and roll action. It was in with the new, and now I suspect you could be looking at out with the old. Okay, especially around that Fed meeting. Now, do you have to pay attention to that as a crypto investor? Yeah, particularly in September and October. But really, the thesis is how much crypto or how much capital or both can I accumulate on dips or on flushes or on panic, say in September, right? How much crypto can I accumulate for the day when every legacy investor wakes up and goes, oh my God, I got to have crypto?
What's interesting about this too is we're coming into a year of a presidential election as well, and it's starting to become obvious. I don't even want to say starting to become. It's become a nearly everyday talking point on Capitol Hill. Crypto and digital assets and this sort of topic, and so I think what's something. Not only are we having a presidential election. And they don't, I think we're going to have a hard year economically, with traditional markets for the rest of this year. What Bitcoin and crypto does, we'll see, right? We'll be evaluating this daily. But when we're coming into presidential elections and digital assets being a hot topic and this narrative that, we don't want to be left behind because now it poses a national security risk of being left behind of all this innovation and also where this asset class could go. This is going to be a talking point in probably every debate, which is aired to, millions, if not hundreds of millions of people regularly, over the course, starting probably about the middle end of this year, from about August on all through 2024, digital assets are going to be getting a lot of interesting sort of exposure to people. And it's not just going to be, Janet Yellen spreading her FUD. You'll be having honest debates from people that really do believe in Bitcoin and crypto and digital assets on those stages as well. It's going to be two different sides of the coin. It'll be interesting to see if the two primary candidates, whoever they end up being, if they end up on the same side of digital assets or being positive or both being, I don't think we'll get a case where both are against it, but where it actually becomes I don't want it to become a political party affiliated topic where if you are if you are, what do you call it? If you are an X political party, then you are for. If you are in the other, then you are against. I hope it doesn't turn out that way. But the fact that this is going to be on the main stage of, the talking points is going to be very interesting to see how that pans out in terms of price action as all this turmoil is going on with the economy over the next year.
Yeah, when it comes to politics, in research, you get paid for imagination, right? I think no one is thinking about three presidential candidates. It happened in 1992. If the Republicans put up one person, a former president decides to go his own way and he runs his own campaign, that actually opens up if you have a three-way race, this is how Bill Clinton got elected. You have a three-way race. This actually opens up the opportunity for people on, say the left of the spectrum, right, who are not friendly to capital markets. I mean, Elizabeth Warren could wind up a vice presidential candidate for that particular group. And if it's like a three-way race, then it's a coin flip. And, things, I don't want to like ruin everyone's Friday, but, wealth confiscation, taxing on unrealized capital gains, bail-ins, like in Cyprus, where they just kind of go into your bank account and go, okay, well, we're just going to take 10%. Those people are out there, right? And people assume they can't get elected, and I kind of hope not. But, one thing people have not thought about for 2024 is, what happens if you have a U.S. or Western administration that is not friendly to capital markets? I mean, certainly, I went through, for the company that I work for, like call it my day job, we're kind of in the water business with blockchain. We went through Corpus Christi, Texas, looking for storage facilities for what we would call a strategic water reserve. And we saw Corpus Christi, Texas as a giant ghost town because of what the administration decided on energy policy, no pipelines, right? So all these facilities, this whole giant town was abandoned. So again, in crypto, if someone wants to take your money, first you might lose it in the banking system because it fails. Can you imagine following that up with somebody goes, you know what, anyone who has money left, our money is our money and your money is our money. I'm like, those people can't get elected. That could never happen, right? Be careful with that. Be careful with, that could never happen. People are like, Bitcoin's going to 400K. Yeah, but what does the world look like when Bitcoin's at 400K? I have no problem wanting crypto to evolve to that point, but, you got to start asking yourself, what does the world look like at those prices?
Yeah. At the end of the day, I put a message out the other day on my Twitter that said, is the world becoming more bizarre and crazier, or am I becoming more aware? And I fear that it's probably just both. I think it's becoming more bizarre and crazier, and I'm more aware. So it makes it feel even more exponential to me, So I think at the end of the day, all we can do is just, look at the charts and look at what our priorities are. And remember, even all of us that are actively involved in crypto and investing, and, we'd like to change our life and change our families' lives. And, we have to remember that this is only one of the tools. Money is not going to be the answer to really fix. If you have a truly problematic life and issues with family, you can't buy love. You can't buy, time is the best asset you ever have. So I really want to encourage everybody to, make sure that you balance your life with be involved in crypto markets, but also make sure you have time for the park. Make sure you have time to send out a handwritten card to a loved one, letting them know you're thinking about them. Call somebody that is hurting. Let them know that you're there for them. Also, be there for yourself. You can't always just be giving. You can only give the best if you also balance time for yourself and have some alone time and spend time out of the charts. So when you do look at the charts, you're not feeling the weight of just whether it's failure or shame or I need this to happen because if this doesn't happen, then all this other stuff fails. Well, that's an indication that you're not focusing on all the other stuff already. So let's all do better at balancing our lives and let crypto also be a tool that helps propel that, not only be the answer.
I think the way to reduce stress in crypto is to remember that crypto is freedom. Crypto means freedom, right? That's why I'm here. That's why I'm in this business. Yeah, we need to make a living. We need financial independence. But too many people focus on P&L and not enough about freedom. And if you take the freedom angle, self-care, we're put on this planet to connect with each other. Make sure you don't lose sight of those things because you're chasing a meme coin.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Bill, I really appreciate you being here. Thank you for your time. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Is there anything else you wanted to share before you go? I'll share your Twitter page here as you go off.
Yeah, I mean, it's crypto_noble on Twitter and TikTok, Crypto Noble on YouTube. You know, we're branching out into all kinds of different ways of measuring time, right? So if you're interested in way outside the box stuff, check me out. And as always, I appreciate you having me.
Thank you so much, Bill. And we'll have you back next Friday as well. Big love to you, my friend. And have a wonderful weekend. We're going to continue on. We got some giveaways to do. And shout out to everybody that's still here in chat. Thank you, Bill. We'll see you next time, my friend.
We'll see you next week.
Everybody here in chat, this is his page. You can go and follow him right here at Crypto Noble. And if you haven't yet, this is your last chance to come over to, did he share it? I don't know if he shared it. He didn't share it. He will share it, I'm sure. Make sure you come over to the BitLab Academy page, which is right here at Academy BitLab, and follow BitLab Academy, and also retweet this daily tweet. We're going to be doing a $100 giveaway here in a moment, as well as 3-month access to the courses. Now, again, just to shout that out, if you haven't seen it yet, this is the list of many of the courses that we have with this new update: Blockchain 101, Bitcoin 101, self-custody, trading fundamentals, psychology of trading, on-chain analysis, candles, candle patterns, indicators, trading strategies. And this is just the first round of updates. We're going to be filming over the course of the next 2 or 3 years, just continually updating stuff, and members of BitLab Academy get access basically to all the courses that we have. So if you are currently a member over at the this current site that we have, there's nothing that you need to do. I will say, everybody that is a member, before the update rolls out live, you do get to keep the current pricing for the life of your account. So the price is going up when we roll over to all the new content. So go ahead and get involved now at BitLab Academy. You can also use BitLab 15 at checkout for an additional 15% off your first month. Now let's go ahead and get a last look over here at the markets before we do the giveaway. Okay, let's look at Bitcoin really quick. Let's go to the 12-hour. I noticed the other day when we were falling, we fell through this zone right here, but we had a lot of the relative extrema was showing that this was likely an unhealthy move. And what happened here, we got the slingshot bounce to the upside. We weren't able to break past this sort of zone right here, these previous highs. So we did roll back over, and we still had relative extrema sticking out a little bit, but is way closer to being within the cloud. And now it has been within the cloud. We have the point of control right here on this view on the chart, all this price action right here. And the Bitcoin price has settled right here on this high volume node, as well as the golden pocket from this move, from this low to this high. I believe, let me see. I think it's moved when low to the high. We can see here, if we zoom in on this, we can see that the price action came right down into this 382 level right here. Now, if we come from this low, option F, to this high, we can see that we're right in the golden pocket, right as we are right now. So if we're able to maintain this area, we do have four bullish divergences. We have a blue starting to flash. This is on the 12-hour. So there is hope at this level that we may find support here, maybe consolidate a little bit and then break higher. The question is, will we be able to break past this $31,000 level here, right here? But we're going to have to monitor this. If we come down to smaller time frame, 4-hour, we can see the blue is formed for a bit here. We may be getting a W pattern, double bottom zone here. Let's look on the 1-hour. Okay, look at this. The bears really tried to make an attempt lower, but we had to look at this. This was showing very unhealthy, and the price action pulled right back up into this consolidation zone. But we're getting a lot of choppiness, so it can kind of go either way as it stands right now. If we kind of look at the 4-hour and above, it does look like some support is forming. So the question is going to be, if we do break down, I would look at this target right here, 27,136. Is one of the targets. If we lose that level, then we're likely going back down to this sort of 25,800 to $26,000 level. Now, looking at Cardano, we can see, has broken out of its rising channel here. And it not only has it broken out of the rising channel, this is a little concerning because we've broken below and we've retested this previous support as now resistance. So this may just be an elaborate sort of fake out to the downside. We're going to need to keep an eye on this. Let's go ahead. Let's zoom in on this just a little bit. Double click on the chart, pull up the stuff. Okay, now we're getting some bullish divergence on the hidden volume here, which we can see is adding maybe a little bit of support at this region. And I always hate these show latest news things. It's my least favorite function here on TradingView. But we're getting two bullish divergences here on market intelligence. We are finding resistance now that we've fallen through this EMA ribbon. We're finding rejection each time we push up into it. So I really want to see price action work its way above this previous support, now resistance. I really want it to find its way back above this and find its way back on top. This is on the 1 hour chart, but back on top of this EMA ribbon because this is looking very weak as it is. However, we are having bullish divergence on the volume, bullish divergence on market intelligence. We also have the relative extremists sticking out to the downside, and blue is starting to flash. So we may be getting some sort of impulse here. We need to see if that impulse has volume and follow through. That's what we want to see. So now looking over here, we can also look before we go. We're going to do those giveaways here. That the $100 giveaway. Make sure, if you haven't yet, that you've come over here to, where is it at? To the BitLab Academy page. Like the page, follow it, and retweet this tweet. This is when we're drawing the $100 from, and then we'll be drawing the giveaway for the courses from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, random picker, and then we'll go from there. Now, boom, boom. Ethereum is looking also a little bit weak, except we also, I do see here, we do have a bit of a falling channel here, or is this a fall? Oops. Or do we have a falling wedge? Let's see what this looks like. This looks a bit like a fall. It's kind of hit or miss because this is almost like a fake out. I would probably do this as a falling wedge. So this is bullish, and we all are seeing here, this is a 1 hour. We have some bullish divergence come in, but this is choppy, so I kind of negate that. We are getting the relative extremists pushing far out to the downside, and look at all this blue throughout here. So we may be setting up for a bullish impulse here if it doesn't break down further. If we do lose this level, then we have a lot of volume below us, 1800 to 1820, these previous highs and all this trading. If we lose this level, then we very well may be coming back down to 1500. I think the market as a whole would be moving down, but we can see even on the 4 hour, blue and the relative extremists sticking out to the downside. Now, let's go ahead and do these giveaways. Now, the first one is going to be, let me go ahead and pull the copy. Let me go ahead and pull that data. Winner from boom and then boom. Okay, and then I did the follow thing as well. Okay, now I got to pull this. Now, alrighty. Here we go. Let's see who won the $100. Oh, Pradeep Web3. All right, I'm going to be reaching out to you privately. Don't respond to anybody but me. And also want you to get into the Discord. If you guys could put the Discord link in chat right now, get into the Discord and DM me or Alex Green. And I will also, we're going to have multiple points. So we make sure that we are sending to the correct person. We're not going to be letting any of these hackers or any of these scammers out there take advantage of anybody. So we will be taking care of you. You get the $100 we'll be sending to you in your preferred stablecoin, and then you can deploy it into whatever capital asset you want from there. And this, by the way, the reason we're doing this is because the other day we hit 100 live streams, and I just wanted to do a special shout out, special thank you to everybody here in chat. And again, I just want to say how much I appreciate you all. If for anybody that's watching somewhere else, we're about to do the other giveaway, but make sure you're following us here at youtube.com/@BitLab Academy. We're pushing up at 6,410 followers now. Come give us a follow. Follow all of the socials that we got all down here as well. Now let's go ahead and do the other giveaway. Now we're going to do a random week, or random day of the week, I should say. Let's do it. Oh, Friday. All right. Well, let's do another drawing from Friday. That makes it easy. Let's go ahead over to, where is it? The random name picker. Now we already have all the data there, so we can do another, say, got to do it again. 1 second. All righty. Now this is for 3 months, access to the courses. One liner 12. I'm taking a screenshot and I'll be reaching out to you, and also get in the Discord. Congratulations, 3 months again for everybody. If you have not yet, get over to bitlabacademy.com. Sign up for the newsletter here. You're going to be the first to know when we roll out all the stuff. And it's happening while I'm here in Atlanta. So, and I leave on May 5th. So I'm just letting you guys know. Get in there and sign up for the courses. There's stuff in there, our old stuff that's in there. But if you sign up before we do the updates, you're going to have access to the lower pricing for the life of your account. And now also all the indicators, the BitLab trading stack. Come over here. You can come to indicators, bitlab.com/indicators. Sign up for the indicators right here. And you can, for this as well, you can put in BitLab 15 for an additional 15% off. Now we have some great updates that we're working on right now that should be deployed here in the matter of a couple days as well. Some stuff that is just integrating a lot of the relative extrema into the candle prices, some new signals that are going to be shown, some cleaning up of colors, and some just really great things with the whole BitLab trading stack. So with that, I hope you all have a wonderful day. I'm heading over to BitBoy Crypto now. I'm doing some on-chain data, on-chain charts, and some other stuff there. So tune in. And with that, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. If you have not yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell so you get notified when we go live. I just want to say, I'm setting up the exit screen here. I just want to say how much I appreciate you all. I truly do. Make sure you're following me over on my own Twitter, which is at Kelly Kellam. You can see right here. Come give me a follow, and I will see you soon. We will be doing Crypto Answered this afternoon. I'll be doing a post about that in a little bit. So with that, hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day and a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I will see you all. I'll see you all in the next episode. Alrighty? Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here and tuning in. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for tuning in. Hit that like, subscribe, ding the bell, and be my friend. Hit that like button, sucker.